Greetings. Now, why the Warframe controls are actually really garbage, it's not clickbait. Short answer, quick melee and or weapon switch. And for all of you Warframe veterans that maybe think like, oh, he's just hating, he's talking garbage. I've been using it for years. It's fine. Please give me a chance. Hear me out. I promise you at the end of this video, you will actually at least understand my point of view. I'm trying to improve on Warframe here. I have a valid point to make. Would be minor improvements that would probably have a rather big positive effect. So I will have to go into detail here. It's probably going to be a bit longer. Do forgive me. I don't want to waste any more time. Here's the deal. When I spawn into any kind of instance where I can draw my Warframe's personal weapons, by default, I come equipped with my primary weapon. What a surprise, I know. Now, there is basically only one true keybind that allows me to change weapons. Let me show it to you right now, and keep in mind, I'm using a default keybind setup, all default, with a standard issue European keyboard, and it's going to be the same all across the globe. So, here it is. Switch weapon, F by default. There's also, as we can see, switch gun, but it's not bound. Why is that? Well, it probably has two reasons. Reason number one, feel free to correct me on this, is that switch gun does the exact same thing as switch weapon. I've tested it thoroughly, even to the point of testing it on the railcheck. It does the exact same thing. I didn't find a single difference in switch gun and switch weapon. If any one of you knows the difference, I know that there has been a difference in the past ages, like 2014, 15 maybe, but that's in the distant past. If any one of you finds the difference, feel free to tell me. I'll be happy to unlist this video. But as of right now, I could not find a single difference, so why waste two keybinds with it? Well, that's probably not the primary reason. Why is it even there? For historic purposes alone? Maybe. But the primary reason is most likely controllers. Especially now since there's crossplay. We see a controller only offers us a very limited amount of actual controls, actual buttons, which is why we had to do, or I guess Digital Extremes had to do with only one, and that's switch weapon. It's on the Y key, and that's it. And I can support that. Why waste two buttons? It perhaps would make it a little bit more comfortable for mouse and keyboard users, but it's okay. One key is enough. It's just done poorly at the moment. And with all of that out of the way for now, I can finally get to the meat and bones. Thing is, when I now press F, I can freely switch between primary and secondary weapons. So, big deal, huh? I know. But when I keep F pressed, it gets a teeny bit more interesting. Because now, I have my melee weapon equipped. And did you hear that flash? Did you see that shine? I have my melee weapon equipped in true melee mode now. And that's a big deal, actually. Because in true melee mode, I can do more than just do attacks. I can also block. And that's a very underestimated mechanic, in my opinion. You can even deflect bullets. It's really cool. It even works on PvP. So, true melee is something I would recommend. Thing is, and that must not be underestimated, what happens if I now switch back? I had my secondary equipped. You could all see that. What happens if I now press F to switch back? What will happen? Will I equip my primary or my secondary? I can tell you, I will equip my primary. Why? As of right now, we will do with the explanation that by default, he will be forced to switch back to the last weapon he used before ever making use of the quick melee button. Remember the term quick melee. So I press F. Boom. Primary. What a surprise. And here's already our big problem number one. When I have my melee weapon equipped in true melee, I cannot, even though it would be easily implementable, change from true melee to the weapon of my choice. For example, if I wanted to switch from true melee to my secondary in this case. But I haven't switched their switched priorities yet. More on that in a second, it gets complicated. I am simply unable to do so. I need to first draw my primary, and only then can I draw my secondary. Shitty. Furthermore, problem number 2, even if we were okay with that, which I am not, and we will forget whatever issue I mentioned so far. Forgetting is the key word here. Because if I am in primary melee mode, I fight, do heavies, I block, I do whatever, and now I'm like, oh yeah, ooh, some corpus are coming, I'm in the void. Yeah, let's just switch to my Exskeletto. I think, I'm not sure. Already a few milliseconds lost. I press F. I have my bolter equipped. So okay, first let's equip the secondary now. It's stupid, I'm going to forget. Even if we were okay with having to first pull my primary back from my holster before I'm allowed to unholster my secondary, even if we were okay with that, which we're not, we will forget. Because if we were okay with it, if it was by default always your primary or always your secondary, you could develop muscle memory and just double tap. But it's not always your primary. Which leads us to our next point. Switch priorities. And now it really gets complicated, because it interlinks with quick melee. And there you can see that Digital Extremes probably did not think this all the way through, because it's unnecessarily complicated. And it took me quite a while to even find this out. I'm pretty curious as to how many Warframe users actually even know all of this. So, let me demonstrate. If I have my primary weapon equipped, and I make use of the quick melee button, which is E by default, it does more than just do a normal melee attack. It also changes my switch priorities for whenever I use true melee. And that is really stupid. Let me tell you that. So, running around with my primary, using quick melee with E, bam. With that done, a bit more about quick melee in general. So I had my primary weapon equipped, I did quick melee. Now, if I switch to true melee, let me just first make sure you see the glorious switch. Boom. I hope you all saw and heard that. What will happen now if I press F to change weapons? Will he equip primary or secondary? Well, according to what I just laid out, he will equip secondary. What a surprise. So is that good? No, that sucks, because that will get really hard to remember. I already, gave you another problem right here. I will repeat it in the future. So, the thing is, that is okay. Because let me equip my quick melee mode again by just pressing E. It's actually really good, except for blocking. I can do basically everything. Keeps the weapon equipped, which is in itself a problem later on, but more on that later. It is okay, because now what I can do, if I just go right-click instead of blocking, I can shoot. That's pretty cool. You see, it works with my secondary. If I were to switch to my primary now and go into quick melee, it works the same way. It's really cool. You can just go into quick melee, basically into quick melee mode, shoot, and yeah, you can really get into that. It's a good flow of combat. I can see what the Digital Extremes thought when they were implementing that. However, if I have all of that said and done, it's really annoying. Actually remember, it's actually really shitty. That's almost the biggest problem. To remember what weapon I will get now if I am in true melee now. So I just equip true melee. And the thing is, there's the core rule. When you switch to true melee, it will always be the switch priority to the weapon that was holstered the last time you used quick melee. Which in this case is my Exskeletto. I press F, I have my Exskeletto, my secondary. But good luck fucking remembering that. Good luck remembering that. It was a pain to even find out. Good luck remembering that in combat. Like, imagine I'm in combat, fighting some Corpus, fighting some Grenier. Now I'm switching to full melee. I block some bullets, fight. And now, even now, I'm not sure what weapon I will get. I'm not sure. I actually have to pause and think. And okay, I remember, I think it was my Exskeletto. Yeah, it was my Exskeletto. But good luck remembering that. Good luck remembering that in the heat of battle. It's not going to happen. It's ultra annoying. And even if we were to accept that, as mentioned, it's still annoying that from true melee, I'm not able to now instantaneously equip my bolter somehow. Like, does he have so much brain damage from his Warframe transformation that he's unable to equip the bolter without first unholstering his secondary Axkiletos? Stupid. But okay. So much for that. Let's go back to quick melee there for a moment and shine some light on another problem, which is just as annoying, or almost as annoying, because I think quick melee is what most people use. I think true melee is a little bit of a rarity at this point. Now look, if I am in quick melee mode, in this case with my secondary, and I go into quick melee, and I fight in it, and I keep fighting in it for a while, perhaps a rather new Warframe player doesn't even know there's a dedicated melee mode, a true melee mode. He fights in it, and now I'm like, oh, okay. I want to some Grenier approach. What was it? Was it Axkileto? Was it Bolter? I don't even know. I have no idea. I want to shoot them with my Bolter, and I go into aim, and I have my Axkileto in my hands, my secondary, even though I wanted my primary. Basically, it's the same problem. I'll keep forgetting. And I will give you my solution to that issue right now. Basically, if I'm in quick melee mode, it is totally understandable that while I am in quick melee mode, I can only switch to one weapon, because otherwise it would just be basically impossible to implement. I can understand that. But what you should allow us to do is to be able to get a tiny, like, listing of the weapon I'm using right above my weapon indicator. You see, down there in the bottom right corner, it says Gram Prime 30 Tempo Royale. Above that, show me that I'm in quick melee mode, and show me what weapon I will switch to when I'm going into aiming by just saying Axkileto, Prime 30, and bam. Maybe even my ammunition count. If you were to show me that, like, just copy that and put it over Gram Prime, that would solve, like, two problems at once. By telling me I'm in quick melee mode, and simultaneously telling me what weapon I actually am combining with quick melee mode here. Because it's just as possible that I'm, like, fighting in quick melee mode, and I'm like, oh, I actually do know that there's a true melee. I've been fighting so long, I think I'm in true melee. Now I go into blocking, I want to block, and oh, he pulls his guns out. You see? This would really be one already very beneficial, like, change, or incredible little work. Just digital extremes, please. In quick melee, introduce a tiny little indicator in the form of my weapon description, ideally with ammunition, above my melee weapon description here, like in the bottom right corner above my powers. Please do that, and it will be able to actually tell us that we're in quick melee and what weapon we're going to switch to. Please, that would be really easy to do and would have no disadvantages whatsoever. However, the biggest problem, in my opinion, isn't even quick melee mode. The biggest problem is actually, and let me be very firm on that, the big problem is actually the inability to change to whatever weapon I actually want from main melee, through melee. That would be a tactical option that I would like to have to save a few milliseconds, or at least develop muscle memory, which is by far the more important part here. So, let me quickly recapitulate the problems themselves. First, the big one. In 50% of cases, you cannot change from true melee to the weapon of your choice. I just said that. Problem 2. Even in those 50% of cases where you would be fine with it, you can and will forget whatever weapon it is that you will switch back to from true melee. Problem 3, the kind of shitty one. Quick melee screws with true melee in a very weird way by changing up the switch priorities. And problem 4, well, even when I am in quick melee, I am prone to forget I am in quick melee, and I might try to block and instead draw my weapons that are for ranged combat. And problem 5, when using quick melee, you're just as prone to forget what you actually have equipped. as you are with true melee when you want to switch to a gun. Simple as. And those problems could be easily solved by A, introducing a little weapon label above your close combat weapon in the bottom right corner for quick melee. And B, the true solution, simply get rid of this entire suboptimal and weird unnecessarily complex garbage by making it so that when I have true melee equipped, simply pressing the change weapon button once gives me my primary, and keeping it pressed down gives me my secondary. That is literally it. That would be my solution. Combine that with the label above the weapon choice for quick melee, and boom, all problems solved. Now, if you really wanted to go the extra mile, because there's only one instance I can imagine where this might not be ideal, and that's when somebody does not have his primary weapon right now. When he, doesn't equip one for whatever reason. Or gets disarmed or something, you know? In that case, maybe go the extra mile and introduce an if statement that allows me to make my secondary accessible with the simple button press, just for the sake of fine-tuning, as I would equip the primary one. If you even want that. Perhaps that wouldn't be ideal for your average console user. Who knows? But the thing is, the current system kind of sucks. And even my little fine-tuning here would be unnecessary. I mean, sure, it's technically not a big deal. It has been, quote-unquote, working for years. But just to see whatever weapon I basically randomly get, and then to press F again, yeah, it's not an ideal solution. And to anybody that would tell me just do that and stop your bitching, I tell, dudes, it's a simple improvement. Or would you rather still live in a cave? Maybe a far-fetched comparison, but yeah, this would be a very simple opportunity to improve with very little effort. And I mean, seriously, dude. Given the success of Warframe, I think it is a valid request to actually get a control scheme that allows me to simply equip the weapon I want when I want it, including melee. And with all of that said, thank you for watching.